All right, in 5, 4, 3,
Cheap flights.
Cornbread.
How's it going, everyone? This is Frank Cavone, the Cheap Flights and Cornbread podcast.
How's it going, everyone? I'm Frank Cavone of Mirth Films, and today we are doing the Cheap Flights and Cornbread podcast here at the Putnam Place with my main man, Doug Quimby.
How's it going?
And the man of the house, Sly Fox. How you doing, man?
Good.
Good, dude. It's great to have you on this finally. Thank you so much, as always, for letting us do this. This is honestly a dream come true.
Oh, yeah.
We've been coming here since 2015.
Yeah.
In our early partying days, and
For
now
sure.
we're
you
just
guys-
drinking black coffee. So.
You guys been family for a long time. It's only a natural progression.
Exactly. Yeah. No. This place literally does feel like a second home. Just when you see the same people here at show after show, week after week. Even if you don't know them, you're going to know them by the end of the night, and that's what makes a place like this special. And building a community around a venue like this is so important, especially with how many venues do we really have here in Saratoga Springs that have the ability to offer what you guys do, because there are people who do have live music. They do a great job at it, but you guys just have like every every
we
trick
partner
in the book.
up. We kind of try to look at it as like Cafe Lena, UPH, us, and SPAC.
Yeah.
And we kind of partner together on a lot of stuff together too. Where I'm friends with all the people that run those fine establishments as well, and we have a really cool thing going on here in Saratoga.
Seriously, and it's a diverse group of music,
Yeah.
and just so many great memories have came from this place, and we have a lot to talk about. But first, as always, you can listen to the Cheap Flights and Cornbread podcast on iTunes, Spotify. You can listen to it on SoundCloud. Dude, I don't know why I can't speak today. And then
Kayla's making you nervous.
I guess so. And then and then you can also watch it each and every single week on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. on the Mirth Films YouTube channel. So, but yeah, we Sly. So
Yes,
first off,
thank you.
you have a long history of music. You started, I guess, your time playing, and correct me if I'm wrong, in Troy, New York.
Yeah.
Where you grew up.
Yep.
And you guys had a pretty good group of musicians that are still around today that are still playing. Now, who were some of the people who you were playing with when you first started that kind of like put you into your mold that you have now?
I'm from Troy, and I came up, grown up across the street from Sean Rao, who's my best friend from way back, and we started writing music together and got instruments when we were probably only like 9-10 years old. Sean's uncles are both musicians, both church musicians, and highly involved in the church. And they showed us some stuff on the acoustic guitars. And my cousins who lived upstairs from me, I didn't have any brothers, so my cousins are kind of like brothers to me. And then we lived in the same house for a number of years, upstairs and downstairs from each other. And they were all musicians, Vinny, Steven, and Johnny. And so I was always exposed to music from a young age. My father was a musician as well, a drummer and a singer.
Wow. Okay.
So both Sean and I had kind of musical families. I had even an aunt on my mother's side that ran a recording studio out in California, and she would always be sending me like books on songwriting and stuff like that. Her kind of high water thing out there was she did a session with Whitney Houston at one point.
Wow.
So I had like a lot of music influence from my family on both sides and Sean's family, who were really good, supportive people. We started basically immediately writing original music, and I think that's why I still am not a big cover guy. I like doing my own takes on like old blues things and stuff, but in general, I am about original music and original art in general. I mean, I love everything. I've been writing poetry since I was a kid and songs. And,
wow. Okay, so songwriting too, it's not just the craft on the guitar, you are putting words on paper and really starting to write. Now, what age is that?
Words came to me before music even.
No way.
When I was in like second or third grade, my parents still tell the story that the teacher called her in because a guy that worked at the school, like the janitor, got sick. And I convinced the class that we should write him a get well card. And the teacher like jumped on that. I was like, oh, that's a great idea. You should do that. And but a lot of the kids were having a hard time like writing their stuff. So I went around and like helped everybody, and I wrote all these like rhyming poems, like all different, to help all
wow.
the kids do that. And the teacher called in my parents to say like, this is like a weird thing for a kid to do, but it was cool, you know, or however she said it, you know.
Yeah.
But
Set
either
for
way,
life in
so
English class. I
and
like
my
it.
parents are very supportive. I know a lot of artists had hard lives, and you know, we don't come from money or anything like that. We've had our share of hard life, but my parents have always been very supportive of me, and like I said, Sean had a good, strong family in that regard too.
Yeah, and
so
that's something that, you know, like you said, not a lot of people get, is that family support. I mean, you have you have family from across the country sending you songbooks. You got people locally. You got your friends. I mean, I know for somebody like yourself, Doug, like your mom was also very supportive of your skateboarding career as well. Yeah. So like, what is it like? It's got to be nice having that, you know, that backbone. Like, hey, go do this.
It makes you from a young age feel like you can do anything. And if you feel like that and you carry that through your life, what can really stop you? As long as every day you're making another step forward.
Exactly.
That's it.
Yeah.
But so my parents were very encouraging of my writing from the get-go, and my father always instilled things in me about writing and music, and just that, you know, my father would always say, writing is knowledge, knowledge is power, or reading is knowledge, knowledge is power, and power is good. My father always used to say that to me, and I believe that, you know. So I was an avid reader and writer, and writing songs and poems, and then, like I say, I hooked up with Sean, and we started putting that stuff to. He didn't really write lyrics at the time. We both like tried singing duties. Neither of us was great at it.
Okay.
We did try out for a thing at school, and he won the tryout to sing a solo thing, like at a church thing we did at one point.
Wow,
And we were on TV with his one of his uncles at their church, like me and him playing acoustics in the background. You know, we were like, whatever, 11 or something like that. You know,
That's hilarious.
It's pretty funny. So we worked together, put together. Basically, it was kind of like during the. Our take on it was you have like the White Stripes and that kind of like, you know, modernist blues type thing. It's kind of like what we kind of were after pretty quickly after evolving through a couple different bands. We were a band called Dionysus throughout high school, and then we were a band. It was always me and Sean and usually a couple other guys. And then we went down to a 3-piece called the Clockwork Orange, and that was where we had success in New York City a little bit by playing CBGB's a couple times and the Wetlands. And those are both fantastic places. I'm glad I set foot in.
That's got to be amazing,
and, you know, it's funny when you think about like all the stuff we do and the traveling is fun and everything, and seeing different cities, meeting different people. But it is like kind of a cool thing to like just be in the rooms and on the stages of your heroes, you know.
Of course. A lot of legends came from both of those stages.
Yeah,
so I can imagine being
and
on
that's
that.
why I'll never forget it here. If you could, I don't know if you guys
Of
can see it
course,
from your
CBGBs,
shop, but
yeah.
that's why that's dead center in the bar here too. Even though we're a nice, classy place now, you know.
Yeah. You got,
But,
and it wasn't always that way. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Yeah. But so to just wrap you up through the thing, so Sean, eventually we kind of trickled down from a 5-piece to a 4-piece to a 3-piece to a 2-piece. We did a lot of duo stuff for a while, and then eventually he got more into the acoustic side of music, and I've always been a rock drummer type guy. We kind of broke apart at that point, and he did a lot more acoustic stuff and went on to have great success.
Of course.
And he does have a great magical voice, and he's a fantastic songwriter. I just talked to him yesterday. I actually had to pick up a guitar from him that I let him borrow that I want to take on this trip we're doing next week or whatever. So he did that, and then I got totally out of music. I went through kind of some hard times in my life, and I ended up going from having an arsenal of every kind of piece of gear. I had 10 guitars, 4 basses, 2 drum kits, the PA, everything. But like I said, I went through a hard time, and I ended up like hawking basically all of that, going down to the point where I didn't even have a guitar for like a year or two. I ran into a guy that I told that to because I had seen some guitar memorabilia like in his office at a job that I was interviewing for, and he's like, well, here's a guitar right here, try that. And I played it a little bit, and he was like, you keep that guitar. He's like, anybody can play guitar like that. You haven't had a guitar in 2 years? I'm like, no, I'm trying to get back on my feet, He's like, keep the guitar. And like from then I started like working and getting all my gear back and rebuilding myself as a person, And so I got these songs coming to me, and I call Sean, And I was like, Sean, I got some songs. I mean, I don't know if you want to come sing them, or I'm writing the lyrics, and I never sang or anything. So, would you be interested in hooking up and doing some project? And he was like, yeah, all about it. He even recommended. It's funny because it's like a thing that never took flight. I have these different paths, but at the time he was like, what about Greg Nash? We got Greg Nash on drums. I'm like, yeah, that sounds good. So anyway, so I keep writing these songs about the period that I had just gone through, essentially, and those. But the songs were so personal to me. There wasn't really a story on that CD that wasn't like very much in my own personal truth. Even though I try to write in a way where things could have two meanings and not like just make everything a closed story or whatever. But they were very personal lyrics, is what I would say. And I felt the need that I had to sing them. So that's when I started working on singing. So I just like started listening to doing some like vocal exercises along with shit I found online, and and just really closed my eyes and got into the story that I'm telling at the time I'm singing the song, and I liked the way it sounded. So that's how I became a singer.
Wow,
so I was always a guitar player, and I was also coming up. I was always like. Guitar players think they're the most badass person in the band, you know what I mean? Singers think they are, but like as a guitar player, you're like, the singer's like, you know what I mean? The guy's got to carry the mic stand, and we're doing all the other stuff, and and not that Sean was that way, but it's just kind of a funny thing because I never like wanted to be a singer in that way. I always like the guitar player is usually like the outlaw of the band, and I kind of liked that role, but the singer is more of like the leader of the band, and I enjoy that as well.
And you do both, and now, time passes. When does Sly Fox and the Hustlers become a thought? Is this already happening, or?
Yeah, I had the name of that band before when I was only like halfway through writing those first 7 songs that became the first CD, which is called The Lowlife.
Now, is any of the lineup that you have right now still have they been there since day one, or it's?
Nope.
The Hustlers change.
The Hustlers
a hustler.
Yeah. Hey, look, I've been in a lot of bands, and I've been like, and I have a lot of friends that have been in bands, and I've been in a million band situations where people are discussing what we're gonna do, and I'm against the name changing your name all the time shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I know guys that like, as soon as they get some momentum, this guy leaves, now the name's gone.
Right.
So when I came back and I had the knowledge of all the stuff, all those bands I was in with Sean, solo and duo stuff, and I had all that knowledge, like I knew right away, I'm like, I want a cool name for the band, and that had been my nickname, so I started trying to think of what am I gonna call the band, because I wanted it to be like me and I really used, the example I used was Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. I wanted to be Sly Fox, and I had a couple things rolling through my head, but Hustlers was so perfect because it's just a good fit. It's what, my whole life, that's the other side of my story is I have the artistic side, but I have a very business side, and at 12 years old when I wanted that first guitar, we grew up, working class poor, you might say. Not to say poor, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, 100%.
And so I had to get my own stuff, So so I came up with like different like things to do to make money. We went to Catholic school, Sean and I, and my sister and his sister. And so I put a thing in the church bulletin there that I would do lawns and all that sort of stuff, when I was trying to buy my first guitar. And so I had set it up, and I ended up getting so much business that I had my friends go do the work, and I'm just like setting up the things, and I'm like the scheduling, like I'm the boss, and I'm at like I'm like 12 years old or whatever. But that's how I got my my first music instruments, and my parents would match me. They'd know how much I'd be saving, and like I wanted one really cool guitar that was like $700 once, and I remember I was like building, and once I hit 350, they're like, grab the 350, and went down and got it. But
and what was that
but I always had that work thing, you know what I mean, that work ethic.
Yeah.
So I think that is a big part of like kind of that carries over into the hustler, thing of it is like go get it, you know what I mean?
Of course, yeah.
Be
Make
proactive.
your own opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
be
that's
proactive.
it, man.
Make things happen.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
So, and with Sly Fox and the Hustlers, like you guys have, you played multiple festival dates last year, doing a lot of traveling. You went down south last year for like that. I think it was like that, and during that fall like tour. You did,
just after COVID there. Yeah.
Okay.
Once that like kind of broke, some people down there still had masks and stuff.
Okay.
Just
80K
to follow, just to
Fest.
continue it from where you left off, as though.
Yeah.
So when I got the songs together for that first CD, I kind of built a band in order to record that.
Okay.
And then I did some a couple years of doing shows mainly with those guys, but it's always mixed up a little bit. The Hustlers have like changed faces throughout the time.
Yeah, yeah.
But who I have, and then bringing it to current, we released a CD in the middle there called American Gypsy, and then now we're working on one now, and we released a live CD that we did at the Egg. We played a couple times there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And that came out cool. So, but the lineup I have now was Sean Ireland on drums. I gotta say that because I think he's
That guy's insane.
He's
man.
amazing. The
Beats him.
musician. He plays every instrument and he
Yeah.
sings extremely well. And it's been absolute pleasure working with him. So I really think he turned things around. And this will be the CD that's coming out will be the first one with him on it.
Cool.
And I think there's going to be. I think it's going to go over pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, you got Dustin DeLuke on the keys. You got a new bassist now.
Yeah.
Also
My
really
brother-in-law,
cool.
Johnny Ellis.
He's your brother. Okay.
Yeah,
Brother-in-law. Okay.
Yeah.
But
He's the model. He's the father of my godchildren, who are the ones that make me the Irish godfather. So
And look at it now.
There's a lot of full circle there, you know.
And now you guys are going on a cruise ship together.
Yes. Yeah.
So tell me about this. It's a Roger Daltrey cruise.
Yeah.
And so what's the story behind this? Because that's just number one insane. I'm jealous. I mean,
Yeah.
I need a can, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, Roger calls me up, right?
yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. So yeah, that came about because we played some festivals like you mentioned last year, and somebody that's called the Rock Legends Cruise, and somebody that is involved in that caught onto the festival that we played up in Lake George, the Adirondack.
80K, yeah.
Yeah, right. By Dave Eamon and
course,
Jared
shout out Dave
Hartstone.
and
Jared
Jared,
Hartstone. Yeah, they throw on a hell of a thing up there. But it's mostly jam bands. We were kind of more of the we're a rock and roll band. We like mix it up. Where we play a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But that's what they were looking for, is like a rock and roll band, because this is Legends of Rock cruise. And there wasn't too many jam bands at that one, but for whatever, some video that went out, maybe you shot it, but
I don't
some
know,
video
yeah.
that somebody saw somewhere was like, who's this band? So they reached out to Jarrett, who's also a good friend. So he was like, yeah, they're like, what can you tell us about the Sly Fox and the Hustlers? He's like, everything. I was at his house yesterday, so like it was like perfect,
Wow.
And
So just like a cold call, pretty much.
yeah,
in a
just saw
sense.
some video from Jarrett's festival.
Oh, that's awesome.
amazing. That's a great festival up there that those boys
Oh
got.
yeah.
Huh?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, no, we're attendees every single year.
Yeah, right.
We have to be. I mean, it's our hometown,
Oh, yeah.
and just like that's so cool that a local hometown thing. Somebody else from rock star land saw this video.
Yeah.
And now you're going to be on a cruise with one of the greatest singers of all time.
Yeah,
depending who you
and the
talk
whole
to.
lineup is insane. Deep Purple.
Deep Purple, really? Is that
yeah,
Ian Gillian still in the band, or what? I don't even know.
I don't
his
know.
name.
Yeah.
I just know
to be
Richie's
honest
not
with
in
you.
the band, so it's
Right.
like that's
George
still.
Thorogood and the Destroyers. There's
No
another
way.
Sly Fox and the Hustlers. George Thorogood and the
Yeah,
Destroyers.
yeah.
Well, I do know he'll be there.
I'm not going to say you were very much of George Thorogood, but you do have like how you're talking about this modern blues rock sound. Like it's like aggressive blues with stage presence and just like I don't know. It's just like blues rock turned up like to 11.
Yeah.
With like heavy rock influences from like
Yeah.
what we listen to today in a sense.
And the
And
new
you're-
stuff even has some like country stuff. I most recently put Pedal Steel on 2 songs on the new thing. So I mean, I look at it as a rock and roll band that I look at it like I think the best rock and roll band ever was the Rolling Stones. And you look at like the stew that they make, and we're New York, we're America. The whole thing is stew. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so it's
yeah.
like. Throwing a little, obviously the base of the stew is definitely blues rock, and then like throwing some funk and throwing a little punk and a little jam and a little, country. And I mean, look at the Stones with like, within like one album they have like Some Girls is, it goes from like punk rock to country to disco.
Yeah. I mean, same with
You know what I
David.
mean? So I won't pigeonhole myself into anything, but I look at us as a rock and roll band.
And changes are good, man. Like
Yeah,
because
yeah.
like you can
gotta
look
keep
at
growing
it.
as an artist. Like I was saying, I
true,
love
you
all
do.
the arts, and I paint a little bit. Poetry, I'm huge on writing in general, and of course music. and I think all of it like has to always constantly be growing and testing boundaries, and like
course,
you
yeah.
can't be comfortable.
No,
you know?
and that's it. It's like it could be subtle change, it could be extreme change. Like extreme change is David Bowie in the 60s to David Bowie in the 80s, or you know, even like Rush. You take you know, the first two, like Caress of Steel, and compare that to Subdivisions, like that era of Rush. It's like not even the same band, but it's like this like enhanced like, and like we were talking about it before off the podcast a couple weeks ago, like country music in general, you have been accessing more. You've been opening your ears to different things, because you know it is tough when you have, you know, when you hear blues rock all the time, nonstop, or like in our instance, we were talking about, we were like, we hate jam bands now. You know?
Well, I'm here, so I'm at Jam Band Central. So definitely. You know, I think that's always helped me too. Is like, you know, when I look at like what am I really meant to do and what is my passion and everything, it's just so obvious to me, because since like my very first concert, you know, just like the lights, the sound, the smell, the whole thing, and I just like get that on a different level. A lot of times that's what like kind of leads me into my day gig, which is probably the coolest one there is, which is I run rock and roll, or you know, I run a music venue and event space. In a beautiful city, Saratoga Springs.
With your friends.
We have fantastic
got a great
staff. And so I mean, it's like kind of a dream job, but you're right. It also keeps me in that spot where every single night I'm taking mental notes of what to do, what not to do, and I see that. And you never want to get burned out too. You got to keep, you know, try to keep it exciting for yourself, and that's what's nice about trying to change up even here, trying to add to the genres that we book here, because you know, you got to mix it up, you know, otherwise just like I say with the art thing, it's just you got to keep growing and keep moving. We're doing stuff with aerialists here now. We're working with country bands. We do a Latin night on Sundays throughout the summer.
A great event.
Yeah, we've done it. We've taken over a couple nights up here pretty well. I mean, on Monday you have us doing the Family Tree with an open mic after that. Family Tree's like an all-star jam of, you know, from 100 miles you get some of the best musicians every Monday here. And then that turns into an open mic. That's got Kayla behind the bar, the country music fan.
Okay, cool.
And then we also, like I say, so that's the Mondays. And then after us, actually, there's also stuff going on at Cafe Lena. They do an open mic that night. And you got over at DA's, they do
Super Dark.
Yeah. So it's like Saratoga is the place to be on a Monday night. There's no doubt about that. And then with those Latin nights we were doing, which is also a really cool kind of music, great groove, nice when you get up in those big subwoofers, you know. So and a lot of people dance, and that's a really cool scene that I enjoyed more than I would have thought I did, and we've had fantastic success with that, to the point where nobody else music-wise is really even opening on Sunday. We kind of own the night.
You did, and that's the thing. It's like I, through my own ways of coming here, only, you know, like really like looked at this place like a jam band place. Just because, you know, on the surface, like that's, you know, when you have these memorable shows year after year after year, you know, people travel hundreds of miles to come here. It's that's what you think about. But like then over the summer, like you guys were doing some stuff with Saratoga Living, which was really cool, like diversifying, and then just really like I like had to work the lotto like over the summer, and then like it was like 11 o'clock on a Sunday night, and I came here to film some video, and I was like, what the heck is going on here? Because it was like, it was filled to the brim outside, filled to the brim inside. We got one DJ here, got a DJ on the deck, which you know, props to, you know, really fully utilizing that outside. I mean, you had at one point 2 beer vendors outside, not just one. You had Michelle running it, you had the place over here, the little deck. I mean, goddamn, man. And we're looking forward to this year. Keep running strong. Absolutely.
But definitely, I think mixing it up with the type of music is good to keep everything fresh for everybody. But definitely the jam band shows are still, you know, a staple
Yeah,
for certain of what we do, and they expect those bands, if they know they're coming through the area, they expect to see them here, you know?
Yeah, and we got this new phase. I'd like to consider it a new phase of music here in this area because, you got people like Brian Alvarado doing Gem Fest. Dave Eamon does his thing,
Yeah.
Super Dark, you guys,
Yep.
And so it's like it's providing, number one, an opportunity for a band to play.
Yeah.
Opens the doors to multiple genres to come in here. You guys had, I think, Gozer Shortwave Radio a couple, a month ago.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we do nights where we have like
the
kind of up
interest
and
is
comer
there.
bands where there's like 4 or 5 rock bands or something, that sort of a thing. That's in fact what we're doing tonight.
Yeah.
And then we mainly work with promoters. There's so many good promoters in the area.
Yeah. Jared Hartstone.
Greg Bell, Jarrett,
Yeah.
Shane.
Of course.
And so we keep basically working with those guys, but they all bring little different things to the table. All the jam bands come that way mainly. Jarrett's huge in that scene. You know that he works like every festival and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think
probably
that
really hates jam
diversifying
bands
is huge.
Yeah. So Doug, what questions you got, man?
I mean, you kind of covered just about
We did
everything,
cover a
but,
lot.
There was one question, so we didn't get to it. That guitar that you saved up for $350, then your parents helped you get the rest of it. What guitar were you trying to get then?
It was a. Wow, it was a lot of guitars ago.
Asking a
It was
musician.
the black 335 Epiphone, I believe.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now you play a red Epiphone.
Yeah.
Okay. 335?
Yep.
Okay, wow. So keeping a consistent
Yep.
semi-hollow
Oh,
body.
I mean, I've gotten everything. It was either that or a black Telecaster, but it was definitely
Oh,
black.
black Tele,
I can
nice,
picture. Yeah. That might have been actually. I think it was a black Telecaster with a white pickguard. Yeah.
So just to, I guess, wrap up just some questions regarding Putnam Place, I guess, what are some of your favorite memories from here? It could be a specific set on stage. It could be just some crazy thing that happened here. Like
Since the transition of ownership change, I've been here about, I think, 8 years now. And in like 17, 18, we had a new owner come in, and we kind of revamped everything. It really had been gotten down to being kind of a dive bar, which again I'm okay with, as far as it was a cool vibe at the time and everything like that. And there was a lot of cool stuff here that happened then, Blues Traveler and Robert Randolph and big bands like that. But I'm very much a fan of how it is now, because I was able to walk around in here and pick almost everything that you see in here, as far as like every picture, where the stage is, how big the stage is,
Wow.
the screen behind the stage. I was able to like really set this up like my own little playground, just the way things worked out. And so I love it the way it is now. And we've done some nostalgia to some of the shows of the past by having like a little area where we have all flyers from some of the big names, Lucas Nelson and Fishbone and all these big bands that have been through here. So that would be a huge thing for me. Of the shows, I really liked White Denim a lot. I thought they just like were kind of a band that I slept on a little bit, as far as like when they got here. I was like, I was just like, sometimes when you're working in a place, a lot of times you're doing stuff and everything, but it's those moments, and I get them with a lot of bands, but the best part of the night is when, no matter how important what I'm doing is, I have to then stop because the song has caught me. You know what I mean? And that happens with major artists too. I was trying to sneak out of a concert over the summer where at SPAC, where I went up to do some flyering, and Chris Stapleton, and he started playing a song. I think it's like You Should Probably Go or something like that. Either way, it was just like really cool song. I was like halfway out the gate. I'm like, no, I'm going back in.
Nice.
You know what I mean? So it was like those moments where the music just calls to you, like it hits your ear, and you're like, nothing else matters in this moment.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go get into that vibe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's the most magical thing that happens to me here. Along with having such a great. I'm very blessed to have a great job and a great supportive ownership. So I feel like the fact that here I have like family in the staff,
Of course.
and in the crowd. So I mean, like, it's such a social job. I mean, it's just
You become
right
here
here. It's
anyways,
like you say, if you said what would you do if you had $1 million, and I think I'd be doing the same thing. I'd be playing in a rock band and running this music venue.
Nothing would change.
Not too much.
that's a great
maybe
thing.
I'd go from the $700 guitars to the 4,000s maybe.
Right? Oh yeah. Now, and that's the thing. It's like as long as it's
find
you know
what
the
you wanna
age-old
be
thing.
doing.
Yeah, find
Yeah.
what you want to be doing. Like, I don't,
Yeah.
and you won't work a day in your life.
Love what you do, and you won't work a day in your life.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, I did a lot of jobs I wasn't into that were like soul killers, and that's one advice I would give to anybody. It's never too late to jump back in. I mean, like I say, my whole stuff, everything went downhill for a hard time that I went through, and I built myself back up, and so never a second effort.
Don't count yourself out.
A guy doesn't hit the hole right in football, right?
Exactly.
It's that second effort so many times. So many people give up on the first time or the second time. All successes versus a failure is the guy that tried one more time than the guy that's a failure. You know what I mean? That's what success is. So to stick at it, and I've met some musicians that was a great sax player. I'm like, you're so good. I've always wanted to play sax. That's like one instrument I would dig to play that I don't.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, I started when I was 50, because the guy was 60 or whatever. But I mean, hello, like always, life's too precious. Time is the most valuable commodity, and
Literally.
do what you love, and don't, otherwise if you're not working on building your dream, you're working to build somebody else's.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I know you get that with Mirth Films.
It is, and that's where it's all about, even if, especially with starting Mirth, you too, man, at least in my sense, it was, if I actually want this and I, want to be on that other side one day, that means work happens 9 to 5. I'm not done though. Now I work 5 to 1 in the morning for Mirth Films.
Yeah,
and
right,
do
right.
that every day, don't kill yourself over it, but it's you gotta, you gotta earn it. And you got to also put in the time and effort, and then it will, once you're there and you then, you look back and you realize all the stuff you did, and it's holy shit, you can't even remember it.
Yeah, and everything takes time. It's, everything they say happens twice, once in your head and then once in real life. And, so many things that we're doing, it's the idea is the seed, and then you take the seed and then you plant it. And you got to water it. You got to make sure it's in the right soil. You got to clear it away when debris comes. And now it's getting big. Oh, something's starting to sprout. You know what I mean? You got to trim it. You got to do the things. You got to turn it into this great big plant.
Exactly.
Right? So and at one point you'll be able to harvest it. But, you got to let it build. And if you're always moving forward on your dream, you know what I mean? You're never going to be down on yourself because you did it. You're doing it.
And as long as you're honest and trustworthy and you're doing what you need to do and respecting others along the way, then what else can what else could you do wrong? So, but just because we are wrapping up to the back half of the show, it is now time to talk about some of the shows that we have coming here at Putnam Place, just in the month of February. And by the time you're watching this, Neon Avenue happened, and it was a great time. So it was awesome.
It was fantastic.
Yes.
Can't wait. The podcast that we did was great.
Dude,
That was
And,
amazing.
it was so
Really,
good.
I would
artwork,
do it
guys.
again.
Artwork.
Yeah, I mean, I've never heard a Grateful Dead cover band like that before.
Dude, they played all of my favorites.
Every
All
one
my
of them.
favorites.
To a T. So, yes, but every Monday night you got Family Tree Band, you have Sly Fox doing open mic. Still want to come up for one of them.
Yeah, I am going away I'm going to be gone for 2 Mondays because I'm going on the cruise trip there, the jam.
That's right. Yeah,
but,
Sly will be bringing the sunshine with him in 2 weeks. So
Yes,
make
yes,
sure.
yes, the sunshine will come back and we'll get that open mic rolling. Yeah, and I invite all my friends up to come up and jam. A lot of the Family Tree people hang around. Like I said, the people that come in that are kind of the special guests that night are often around and asking about jamming. So that'll be a good time. That's on the Mondays, and then we do actually because we are jumping into that country a bit.
Yep, you got country
like I was
night.
saying, I went to that Chris Stapleton last year, and I love a lot of the new country coming up that's been over at SPAC. So on Wednesdays we've made a country night here.
So that's
right
every
now,
Wednesday?
Every Wednesday.
Okay.
Right now it's with Kevin Richards from the radio there. And he's fantastic, and it's a great crowd. The room gets really full. They were doing it on the patio during the summer, And what we're going to grow it to, right now it's just the line dancing from 6:30 to 8:30.
Okay.
But we're going to grow it so that we have like a country music DJ afterwards, and we're going to theme it up in drink specials and maybe even like, we'll have the girls in the boots, and then we're kind of go with the whole vibe of the country thing,
Have a theme.
And
good.
like a themed up night, exactly. And I think that'll be like a ladies' night, so there'll be special drink specials for ladies to come, and so they can come and do the line dancing, and then they can keep doing it as the DJ stays afterwards. And then also some nights it's going to be live bands as well.
Cool.
So we're branching out into the country thing. We got the Latin, we got the jam, and then the best touring national and regional bands of all genres.
Of course.
Every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
That's right. So Cowboys, you know where to be every Wednesday night. Line dancing. We also have coming up February 11th, one of the best events in all of the Capital Region, Chowder Fest.
Yes.
I'm not going to be able to make it, but there's going to be a DJ here. It's going to be packed as
always. And a great
always.
funk band after that.
You guys are going to have your own chowder.
Yep. And we lost a member of our staff, and I know you were friends with him too, Chad. Passed away not long ago, our head of security here at Putnam. And so the Chowder Fest we named in his honor. He was a huge
awesome.
Superman fan, so it's called Super Seafood Chowder.
And
And we're gonna donate $1 of anybody when you come and you buy a cup for whatever it is, $2 or something. We're gonna donate $1 of everything we do to the Saratoga PBA in his honor, Chad's.
That's fantastic.
Oh, that's awesome.
So we're trying to keep his spirit alive with us.
Always.
Yeah.
What a hell of a guy. And then, just a couple other ones. We have, you guys are doing a Super Bowl watch party here. That is February 12th. If you don't watch sports, that is the day the Super Bowl happens. And then we also have another great Grateful Dead cover band. We got Gratefully Yours, February 18th. But if you want to see all the Putnam Place shows month by month, head to putnamplace.com to go and check that out, and make sure to follow them and, subscribe and all that bullshit on social media.
Can I just throw one or two other little things in there? It's just that the other thing that we do here is we try to at least once a month do a charity event.
Okay.
So we do welcome if something's going on in the community that we can help by offering the space. We'd like to do that, so I just want to throw that out there because we are an event space as well, and we're also open for. We actually I don't think it's been made officially yet, but a local celebrity type gentleman is going to be having his wedding here this summer, and plans to do it on the patio.
I didn't want to tell you.
So you guys are off the hook. But so there's that, and so we do all sorts of stuff here to fill those other days because being a business got to pay the bills too and everything. So we like being part of the community in any way we can. So we're open for all sorts of special events. You can call or hit us up on the private events at putnamplace.com.
And you guys do a great job at being available for other people. I mean, Kyle Robinson Foundation event with Kyle Silk and Friends almost a month ago now. That was a great time. You're bringing in different crowds here and giving people a place to help grow their cause. And I mean, you've had I forgot what you had. It had to be a couple years ago now. It's like Madison Vandenberg and some cover band here for one of I think it was Dave Eamon's I think one of his family members passed, but I just remember it being a really special thing. But and where can people reach out to you for that? Right through the website?
Right on our website is the best bet, but we do have a phone number where you can call and get information, and but the website and then the emails provided there would be the best for that.
Awesome.
And then on the Sly Fox side, just quick, so we are doing this cruise, come back when we're wrapping up a CD that we've been working on that we started during COVID, and so it's been a long time coming. So we got that coming out, and I believe that CD release will be here on June 9th.
Okay.
So as a band, that's what we have coming up with that, and I can't wait to share all this stuff with everybody.
I can't wait to hear it.
Fantastic.
It's gonna be awesome. Just from what you were saying, you're adding some pedal steel to this album. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's a mixed bag. There's a lot of funk and rock and
hell yeah,
a little country.
It's gotta have a little.
Yeah.
So we wrap up the podcast usually with what we've been consuming. So Doug, what have you been watching, listening, and if you play video games, what have you been playing?
I have not played video games this past 2
All
weeks.
right.
But I have been checking out a whole bunch of Cartoon Network classics like Powerpuff Girls, Ed, Edd and Eddy, just reliving that childhood memories. And I also checked out that 90s show.
Oh, wow. I gotta actually check that out. Is it good?
It's a good background show. And it's a nice show that you don't have to pay attention to, but like, you know, every once in a while it's pretty funny. But
yeah.
They're definitely trying hard to recreate that 70s show vibes, but you know, it's good enough. Good enough for a watch. Good enough for a watch.
What have you been listening to?
Same stuff as last week, you know, Ishtar, rap-wise, classic rock playlist that I got going, and then the Art Bell tape vaults.
Cool.
Yeah. What about you, good sir?
So I've been actually, you're gonna like this, and it's gonna kind of lead into just something quick. We are bringing back the Kind of Live, Kind of Living podcast. It's gonna be a skateboarding-centric podcast happening at Doug's house. Hopefully each and every single week if we don't drop dead from doing all this stuff beforehand. But I watched Street Dreams and Grind back to back.
Dude, love that.
And but you know, like the skateboarding like movies,
I've never seen you on a board. You gotta take advantage of our hill here.
We gotta say.
Yeah.
I like, you know, sometimes I will like, I'll park in the parking lot where it's the library across the street, and like if it's like a few hours before and I don't want to start like, you know, getting into concert mode, I'll bring my board and like skate around.
Oh, cool.
Just to, you know, kill some time, and it's fun. But yeah, they're so similar. Like the plot lines are so similar.
I gotta go check it out.
But you gotta watch Street Dreams.
Back
it's
to
on
back.
YouTube, and Grind is on YouTube, both for free.
Yeah, they keep
with
popping
ads,
up on my suggestions.
and there's no ads. They never put them in. Secondly, I watched this one video. Ex-mob boss plays Grand Theft Auto Vice City to see how authentic it was. And then
Was
just
it authentic?
No. And then some Stone Cold Steve Austin clips. Just because if you need a good confidence booster, seriously, just watch some Stone Cold.
Yep.
Like, just
Can
watch
of
him
whoop
just
ass.
shoot the shit. Yeah. Raise some hell. It's my idol. And then listening, I'd highly recommend, if you listen to podcasts, check out the 9 Club with Bam Margera and his whole family.
That was a really good one.
It's so good. Like, Bam has went through hell and back with substance abuse, losing his friend Ryan Dunn, and I know for us he played a huge part in our life growing up.
Oh yeah.
And
but, I mean, that was just constant story after story after story for like 2 hours.
It had to
was
be one of the
amazing.
best nightclubs in a long time.
For sure.
Other than that, Illmatic, Nas, I listened to that front to back. Public Enemy, Johnny Thunder. I've been listening to some Han Solo since we just did some recordings of them at the Palace. Usually what will happen is I'll record a band and they'll become my favorite band for the next month. Chestnut Grove, they're still my favorite band from their set here in December. Please go check out Chestnut Grove. They are going to blow up for sure. Primus, because they suck. And then I've been playing Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. I'm currently beat the game like 8 or 9 times this week with different skaters. I'm trying
How many
to
more
clear.
skaters you got?
I think I got like 10 more skaters to go.
So-
They got the noobs in there. And then GoldenEye remake. It was on the N64. They remastered it for Xbox Series S and X. And if you have Game Pass, you can play for free. So this has been episode 31 of the Cheap Flights and Cornbread
That's 32.
podcast. But we did not talk to you about what you've been listening to. What have you been listening to this week? What have you been watching? I know you have, you know, with your busy schedule, it's not as much.
I'm always throwing stuff on Spotify. I've been listening to
You did have a good playlist.
90s playlists.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Grunge. I read some stuff about Nirvana that like threw me down that rabbit hole.
Oh,
so I
nice.
was listening to a lot of that. I love Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, and all that stuff. And then country-wise, I like Ryan Bingham.
Okay.
I keep going all the way through his playlist. I can't say enough good things about him. And Morgan Wallen is the other country guy.
Oh, nice. Okay, pretty popular guy.
Yeah, great songwriting. A fantastic voice, and the songs really build nice. I like the instrumentation. It kind of blew me away, like the going to those concerts last year. It's very rock drums. You know, there's been the saying for a long time that country is the new rock. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I didn't really get that until these few artists that I've gotten into recently. And that Chris Stapleton. I thought that was awesome. I've always liked his voice, and I like that Jamie Johnson. He's got like a cool gravel, road worn voice,
Okay, yeah.
But I like the crisp guitars too, like more, just you hear every note
Tone.
and everything. Yeah. Just a lot of great tones going on with loud, heavy drums, which is rock to me.
That's
there's
rock and
a
roll.
little twang in the voice, but
Yeah, that's basically the only difference.
Yeah.
Just try and crank it. Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of that stuff. And watching wise, I watch YouTube videos more than anything. I had been like stuck on the news, like coming out of COVID, and like how that was like the fucking downtown or whatever.
Yeah.
Like I broke myself with that, which is a beautiful thing. But I mainly watch YouTube videos that are just like positive stuff. I love. When I went to college, I went for like very odd kind of studies, but I noticed that this is what I like still to this day pull up on YouTube is stuff that has to do with what I went for. I went to individual studies because I couldn't pick any sort of thing I actually wanted to do. My parents really wanted me to go to community college, so the classes I picked there was 2 philosophy classes, a poetry class, Western civilization, and a music class. And that's still like the stuff that I'm constantly looking up. I'm like watching stuff on Stoicism and a lot of that sort of stuff. And as far as anything like that I actually like watch frequently, I watch Seinfeld like every night before I go to bed. That's like, yeah, I love that. And then one thing that I invested in, because I kind of wanted to have like at least one thing that I watched. Everybody's always talking about all this stuff. I have no idea what they're talking about.
Yeah.
And this was just a rewatch of one that I really loved, because I read a lot, and I was reading like just great about how great of a show it was The Sopranos. I watched that binged that to the point where I got it done in a couple months or whatever, like the whole thing, and which I had watched like back in the day. I came to it late. I didn't see it when it was on TV so much, but like I had seen it towards the end. I think I caught up with it on TV, and so that was cool. I thought that was such a great show, and the acting. I love all that like mob stuff and everything.
Of course.
And then that put me onto Peaky Blinders is actually something that I'm like starting to like. I got through the first season of that, and now again I'm whatever. That's like series is over and it's like 6 years old, but it's whatever. I've had a couple other ones that sound good that I haven't checked out yet.
Cool, man. Well, Sly, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you so much, number one, for being able to let us do this, because
absolutely.
We like doing the podcast and we love this place, and if there's any way we can help this place, while we're here.
You always do. You are right now. And we love having you here.
Thanks,
and thank
man.
you for everything that you do for local arts and music and everything, really.
Thank you so much. If I didn't have you guys, I don't know. I'd probably be an accountant or something. Some that like was like a lot. It takes a lot of my time. Because if I sit at home, I'd bounce off the walls, and I don't know. I like staying busy, so it's really nice to be a part of something that.
You'd be a shitty accountant.
I probably would, man. I absolutely would. So don't trust me with your money.
Buy camera gear with it.
So this has been episode 32 of the Cheap Flights and Cornbread podcast. You can watch on YouTube. You can listen to it on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud. Every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Watch the premiere. We'll be in the chat talking with all of you. And most importantly, make your way to the Putnam Place and stay warm. It's going to be a cold next 6 weeks, according to Punxsutawney Phil. So that's it. Happy Groundhog Day, everybody.
Thank you.
Good night.
Sayonara.
Good afternoon. There we go.